Hey everyone, welcome to Unfiltered with Ibiyemi, where we talk real life, real growth, mentorship, life journey, and real clarity. And of course, without the filters. Today's extra special because we have a guest. She's a powerful voice in project management. She's someone that has shown that she believes in mentorship, resilience, and also the beauty of evolving. So if you're stuck, you're pivoting, you want to lead, this episode is definitely for you. You don't want to miss out at all. Quick reminder before we jump into our conversation for today. Follow the podcast wherever you are. We are on Spotify, Apple, and we're also on YouTube. You can also check the show notes for tools, for how to connect with our guests, for links, and how to join my free community or to book a clarity session with myself. Now, let's get into it. There's a lot we have for you today. Remember, this is Unfiltered, where we don't hide, but we tell you the real tips on how to grow in your career because we have walked the path so that you don't have to crawl. Okay, thank you so much, Gaelle, for joining us today. Welcome to today's session. I'm so excited to have you here. All right, so let's just warm up a bit. So who is Gaelle beyond the LinkedIn bio? Who are you?
First and foremost, thank you so much for having me, inviting me on your podcast. I'm really appreciative. Um, so my name is Gaelle Mokoy. I'm based in Manchester. I'm a project manager and I work for the NHS. Um, Beyond the LinkedIn bio, I'm a 36-year-old woman. Um, I'm a first generation immigrant. I am a lover of music. I'm Congolese. I, I love all things art. I'm just your average, black girl living in the UK trying to make it, basically.
I love that. I love that so much. I love the part where you said, I'm a 36-year-old woman. I love that. It's really good when we shine through anything. We're very proud of where we are because obviously the bit about making it in the UK as a black woman, it is something I can relate to, but we just keep pushing, isn't it? We just keep line up on line, keep pushing, keep growing, and one day everything is going to happen, for us. Okay, so I love your introduction. And beyond managing projects, mentoring people, what would you say you enjoy the most?
Beyond managing, and do you know what? I'm really getting into my speaking bag these days. I really enjoy moderating events and speaking at events as well. That's becoming a passion of mine. But beyond that, I love languages. Like I already speak three languages, so I'm in the process of learning another two. I'm learning Dutch and I'm learning Portuguese as well. So that's basically to keep my mind going, to keep my mind flowing. I'm a lover of poetry as well. I'm a lover of beautiful things. So yes, that's me as a person.
Wow, three languages. Oh, okay. I have to step up. That's all I can say. And obviously, speaking, I think everyone knows that speaking is the future. So I'm happy that that's something you're getting into, you're pursuing, and I wish you all the best with that. Okay, so it's always interesting to hear like the other side of professionals beyond what people see on their bio, beyond what people know about them. So what would you say if we were to rewind a bit, rewind the clock a bit, what would you say your early career was like before the certifications, before project management became a title, you know, you said you were a first generation immigrant, and I know there's so many people that are in my community, so many people that listen to me are immigrants, either first generation or people that just recently, immigrated to the UK or even other countries aside from the UK. But it would be good to just shine the light on what your early career looks like.
So I, I would say I giggled because I'm a firstborn daughter. Okay, meaning that I was a project manager even before I knew I was a project manager.
I love that.
It's one of those like the title was given to me before I even knew what the title was. So there's that. I went to university and I actually did I didn't do project management, rather, I did marketing. Marketing is actually one of my biggest loves. And I still do focus that on that as well. When I finished uni, like many people at the time in 2011, the market was very different, but it was still difficult. Um, so I did what I had to do and I went into a customer service role. Okay. I worked in customer service for a while until I did my Prince 2 in 2014. And then I'm going to be honest, I fell into project management by accident. It wasn't something that I was pursuing. It's just, I had all of these skills already in place, from leading my siblings, from being able to run a home when my parents weren't there, being able to do finances, being able to, do all of these things that I do on a day-to-day basis and implement that into project management. My first role was for a charity. It was for a very small organization, and from then on, I went from strength to strength to strength. Um, and it's one of those, I'm very, very grateful for my humble beginnings, because sometimes we look at humble beginnings and we think, what the hell? Am I going to
Mm,
be forever? And it felt like forever at the time. But looking back, all of those customer service roles that I took part taught me about stakeholder management. They taught me about what can possibly go wrong in a business, in an organization, in a project, so everything was education to me. So I'm taking it as such.
mm, I love that. So, like we always tell people as well, there's so much transferable skills. And I love the way you just shared, the way it started, as people that have children, some people have got kids. That is project management, because guess what? You're literally planning out what their day would look like. You're jumping off the bed even when you don't feel like it, because you don't want them to, run late to school. So there's so much that we are doing in our day-to-day lives. And I just like the fact that you showed the transition, from your, raising your siblings and just guiding them through life. Amazing. Okay, so I love the way you speak, because you speak with so much clarity. Was
Thank
there any time you felt like, I'm not grounded enough?
Yesterday. Being grounded comes in waves with me. There's times where everything makes sense, and there's other times when I'm like, God, if you don't show me a path, like I don't know where I'm going. Um,
Mm,
but there are times when everything makes sense, and there's other times when this is what we call stepping out in faith, and you think, you know what, I'm going to do this, and if it works, it's all going to be by the grace of God, and if it doesn't, it means that God doesn't want me to do it.
mm,
So, for example, most recently I applied for a role. Okay, there was two positions. I did everything that I could, and in the end, I'm like, you know what? I leave it in the hands of God. I thought that job was mine. I didn't get it, but I came third. Okay, I came third,
mm.
and when I came third, they basically gave me some feedback, and they said, if another role comes up, you won't even need to interview. The job is yours.
Wow.
Do you understand? So it's one of those,
Mm,
like, before even applying, I spoke to God and I said, if five people come to me and say, apply for this role, I will apply for this role. Seven people told me to apply for the role.
mm,
And when I applied, I'm like, I did what I had to do. If it's mine, it's mine. If it's not, only your will. So there are times when everything is clear, and there's other times when it's not, and that's when you need to step out in faith.
mm. I love that. Everything we do, that's personally for me as well. Faith drives me, because without God, I don't even think I'll be where I am. And I just look forward in life. I just say, God, You're all I have. I really love that perspective. Really, really love it.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, you talked about yesterday,
Yeah.
and I do feel like if I was to ask you if there was any season you felt stuck or invisible, or if you wondered, like, is project management really for me? Would it ever work out? Would you say is related to this particular job that you just talked about?
Um, I was asking myself at the beginning if project management was really for me because before landing that role, my very first role, I did
Mm,
so many interviews, and it was rejection upon rejection upon rejection upon rejection. Okay. And I was like, and it was, again, I didn't feel ungrounded, but I felt like, what is it about me that people are not getting? Because I finished university like a lot of my friends. A lot of them were already in corporate UK. They had jobs in banks, they had job within the government, and here's me still working customer service, you know.
mm,
So it's one of those I'm like, okay, what am I doing wrong? And it takes me a lot of time to realize that I'm not actually doing anything wrong. I'm doing everything right. But what I'm doing needs to align with what God wants for me. So basically,
mm.
if it's not meant to be mine, it's not meant to be mine. I've learned to accept that over the years.
Wow.
So yeah, like when I was younger, it would be the end of the world. Like I would literally have the biggest meltdowns. But now it's like, you know what? It's okay. On to the next one. It doesn't mean it doesn't affect me. Okay, I'm still human at the end of the day. But this is the beautiful thing about doing project management. It's called lessons learned. Okay, what have
Mm,
you learned? Sometimes the lessons are negative, sometimes the lessons are positive. Okay, so yeah, just I'm learning to have a thicker skin. Yeah.
wow. That is a mindset that anybody should buy, because it takes a lot for you to get to a place and you're like, let your will be done, Lord. That's what I'm getting.
Yeah.
Wow, this is truly unfiltered. And I know there's so many people that will listen to this and they are in the phase that you have passed through or you're currently passing through, because so many people, the job market is so tough right now. I do say so myself. It's so tough. And it's the people that have that resilience that will succeed in the current job market that we are at now. For everyone listening to this is Unfiltered with Ibiyemi. We talk real life, real growth, mentorship, life journey, and real clarity without the filters. And as you've been listening, this is truly unfiltered. So if you're stuck right now, it doesn't have to be in your career, it can be in your personal life. Everything we're talking about is something that you can relate to in every part of your life. So I hope you get to a point where you're kicking your trials, you're kicking your current phase, because trust me, we all pass through all these things. So wherever you are right now, you're thinking, if Gail can have this kind of perspective, this kind of mindset, I can do it. Okay, so let's go back into what we've got. So one thing that really stands out for me, I want to go now on the positive side. I want us to light up.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
Yeah, I've been following you from the points we have connected on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
and you have your newsletter and you have amazing things that you do. And one thing that really stood out for me is the fact that you've worked across different industries.
Yes.
Having domain knowledge is something that is really good. It really shows your resilience, and you would have learned about different industries as well.
Hmm. Hmm.
Why did you move between industries, and what would you say about adaptability and building resilience?
So the main reason why I am able to move in different industries is transferable skills. Um,
Mm,
It's the fact that my skills can be used in any, any industry. So my attention to detail, that whether it's IT, whether it's HR, whether it's marketing, whether it's, healthcare, where I'm now, it's very important. When I was working in HR, I was picked up mainly because of the fact that I spoke French. So,
Oh,
yes, so they needed someone to speak with the French branch and the branch in Luxembourg and the branch in Belgium as well. So that came to my benefit. Okay, so which is why now, like I said, I'm learning Dutch and I'm learning Portuguese as well, because I know that these languages will help me. Um, but it's transferable skills. And whilst I understand that a lot of people want to hone in one specific industry, because I think during COVID, the IT industry just boomed and everyone
yes.
wanted to
Yeah.
get into that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I think being a generalist helped me so much. Because at the end of the day, a project is a project is a project is a project.
Mm,
Do you understand? And it
yeah.
wasn't my project management. I mean, they were important, but it was everything else that I brought around. So, as you said, you love the way I speak. I'm very eloquent. I love speaking in English, but I speak like that just as well in French.
Wow.
I speak like that just as well in Lingala, which is my home language, and I have some understanding as well because both my parents speak Swahili. So
Wow.
all my other skills around the project management skills are very, very important. And I will say one thing that I don't know if the majority of your community is African, but I'm going to say the non-white community of the world, one thing that we know how to do is bring communities together. Like, which is one of the things. So, for example, I'm going to digress a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, please feel free.
Thank you. Last year was my 60th birthday. Okay. So my parents don't live in the UK, but they came to visit and she arrived. And within 2 weeks, we said, okay, we're going to throw this woman a 60th birthday party. The way, and this is how I know all of us, every African, all 51 nations, okay, we are all project managers.
Mm,
Because tell me why I just made one phone call to my godmother and she said, okay, I have Auntie ABCD coming. This person's taking charge of the decoration. This person's taking charge of the food. This person's taking charge of the finances, music, it within a
we
week
swing into action so quickly
exactly
and get things done.
and get things done. Each auntie prepared her specialty that my mom loved. Like it was one of those. It took us 2 weeks to put it all together. And we had her dress made, hair, clothing, like shoes, you name it. Project management is something that we do, okay, without knowing. And I think we do it because we know the power of community. So the fact that you have a community helping, people get into project management, people find jobs, it's very important. We know and understand that word of
Mm,
mouth or using the next person for their skills is very important. Yeah.
yeah. And also, just to add to that, one thing we do so well is this place is good, this place is nice, this environment is cool. We always want to get our people in.
Exactly.
Yeah, amazing. I really, really love that. I know there's so many people that will listen to this. They tend to throw away their previous experience from back home, especially people that are just, migrating, within the last 3 to 5 years. They always want to start again, and they forget that, oh, you've done IT, you've done telecommunications, you've worked with a startup. There's so many things you've done, and they are so relevant. As long as you can tell a good story, you're one step closer. Amazing. I really love that. Okay, so this is such an important reminder for anyone navigating change. Start where you are, pull your things together. Adaptability is something that will really, really help you as you navigate through different industries. Okay. Now, what I see is that you're not just obviously you've got your project management skills, and you looking to mentor people, or you might have even started mentoring people. You share tips via your newsletter, your LinkedIn page, and other sources that you have. And obviously that is mentorship. That's quiet mentorship, because there's someone somewhere reading. That's
Yeah.
one thing I know. It doesn't, even if I put something out and I just get one like, I just see that there's somebody reading. Some people just, don't like to put their likes on or their comments on, but they read it, and it's silent mentorship for them. So why is mentorship, why is it such a core part of your mission, going through the multiple industries and, working with the NHS? NHS is, one of the biggest employers of labor in the UK.
Mhm.
So obviously there's a lot of experience to gain in such an organization.
Mhm.
But why would you say it's a core part of your mission now?
It is a core part of my mission because I wish I had someone like me when I started.
Mm.
I wish there was, oh gosh, listen. I wish there was somebody to show me the ropes. I wish there was a community. If the community was there, I didn't know about it. Okay. Because I felt very alone and very isolated. Because as I said before, a lot of my friends were already in corporate. They were already, had the jobs that they studied for or went into a career, whereas me, I was still figuring myself out. So I am creating what I needed at that time. It's really important for the information to be passed on, because at the end of the day, if it's all in my head, yes, okay, I use it at work, but is it really making an impact? So I know that somebody out there needs the help, needs the information. If it's indirectly, that's all that matters. And in terms of, like you said, getting the likes, getting the comment, etc., having been on social media for as long as I have been, I know
Mm.
that someone's always watching. Even if they don't comment, even if they don't say anything, I know that someone is watching. There's been, I think, 2 or 3 people who reached out to me
Wow.
yes, they've reached out to me via direct message on LinkedIn saying I have I have an interview for a band 4 or a band 5 project coordinator. Can you please help me? And
Wow.
we did 1 hour, 2 hours, and they both got the jobs, because I
Amazing.
helped them and I supported them. Um, and again, you are absolutely right that your experience from back home is very relevant.
Mm.
Very relevant. It's just how you tell the story. It's just how you make it relevant to the job.
Mm.
So yeah.
Amazing, amazing. I know that there's a lot of people within our community that really need the support to getting into the NHS. So we might have a side conversation about that, but it's really good sometimes when you put in the effort to help people, and when they eventually get roles. Wow, it's for me, it's like fulfillment, to be honest.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I love it. And just from your answer is like, I wish I had this when I started. And that was why I started, building a community. At first it was just one person in the community, two people in the community, three people, and then building it to over 1,000 people and counting. It's just when people know that there's somebody I can bounce off my thoughts, I've got an interview, or there's somebody that can help. It's really something that, differentiates it. And people, don't even know what they have. Because so many of us had to find our way ourselves.
Yeah.
But people literally have support. There's so much support now
Yes.
available to people. Okay, amazing. Thank you so much. Um, so I was just like, what is one misconception that you think people assume about your journey that isn't true?
People are one thing about me is, that thing that people say you're not supposed to look like your problems. That's me. That's me. There's a resilience that I have.
Mm,
Like, I could be going through the worst and you won't know. I
mm,
could be. So, for example, I remember it was a couple of years ago. Um, I was at a job. My contract was due to be renewed. The following, yeah, my contract was due to be renewed at the end of that month. 2 weeks on a Tuesday afternoon, they literally let me go. They said, effective
wow.
immediately, your contract has ended. But you best believe that Saturday I was at one of my friends' weddings, smiling, laughing, and being happy for her. Okay. So a lot of people think that everything comes to me easy because again, I don't put the hardships of my journey a lot out there because that's just not something I do. Um, but the mistakes, the failures, the lessons, the contracts ending mid project is what got me where I am today. It's the education that I needed. It's the steps that I needed to be where I am right now.
Mm, I love that. I love that. Okay. So, you've already shared so much, and I am really, really, really sure that anyone listening to this would breathe in and breathe out and say, you know what? Pat yourself in the back. You're doing well. Just keep going. Just keep going. As long as you don't give up on life, there's more that you can achieve. Okay, so we've talked about a lot. You've done so much working across multiple industries, working with the NHS, and obviously your mentorship and other things that you do. But what's something that you're really dreaming about? You're building quietly behind the scenes. You want people to see, it might be personal, it might be professional, but you just want someone to hear it.
Oh, there's a few things that I'm building.
Please
Uh,
tell us.
it's I do want to speak about it. I do. However, I'm being cautious about
Mm,
and that's nothing to do with other people, but I know how my brain works. And sometimes when I speak about things, my brain thinks it's already done. So
cliche.
So as such, I'm not as driven, but all I'm saying that I am the founder of a business and I am a co-founder of another. So um those two things are in the works, which are but by the end of the year they'll be in full motion. But one thing I can speak about, which I'm really, really proud of, I have created a magazine called Elikia. In my language, Elikia means hope. Okay, and the
Wow.
reason why I have created that magazine, it's for people like you and I. It's for people in your community, the people that hope, the dreamers, the ones that had one idea in mind and life took them in a different direction. The ones that, went to uni to study accounting and decided to become makeup artists. The ones that did IT and decided to become photographers, anyone from the diaspora that either is choosing to stay on the business side or is choosing to go to the creative side. Okay, it's just about showcasing that as a people from the diaspora, we are multifaceted, we are diverse, we can tap into anything and everything and make it wonderful.
Mm, that's beautiful. I'm sure that is going to really, really do well.
Thank
I'm
you.
really, really confident, about the possibilities of that scaling up. It would go far beyond your whatever you're thinking at the moment. And to other initiatives that are also in the works, I just know that they would do really, really well
Thank
because
you.
you're such a brilliant person. Well done. Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So when getting to the end of our conversation, and to be honest, I just feel like I don't want this conversation to end because it's so wholesome. Literally, I have goosebumps all over my body. It's really wholesome. Okay, for someone listening right now who's feeling stuck, unsure, discouraged, I'm sure there's so many people that feel that way, especially in the way the world is right now, the news we hear, what we see on social media, all of those things.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that, there's not a lot of positive things coming out, but we do know that there's so much happening in the world right now. What
Yeah.
would you say to someone that is in that group, of people?
You're not alone. Like, you are not alone. The way you're feeling, somebody else is either feeling that way or somebody else has felt that way. So if you can, reach out, okay? Reach out to a friend, have a conversation, even if it's not about what you're going through, you know, but have a conversation with someone. Because, like, one thing that a friend actually said to me is, the devil wants you to think that you're on your own. The devil wants you to think that there's no one out there for you, that there's no hope out there for you, that things will never change. But remember that seasons change. Like right now in the UK, it's the summer, it's very hot. The trees are filled with leaves and it's beautiful and blooming. But once autumn hits, all the leaves will be off the trees, rather than everything being green, everything will be orange. Things change, seasons change. The one that you're in may be difficult, but even if it's difficult, it doesn't mean that you're on your own, and it doesn't mean that you have to deal with it by yourself.
Mm, that's beautiful. Thank you so much, Gail, for joining us today. This was a real heartfelt conversation, and there's a lot to take out for people. Thank you so much. So where can people connect with you, follow your work? Can you just, share with us?
Of course. So I am on LinkedIn as Gaelle Mokoy. Feel free to follow me on there. I'm also on Instagram as Gaelle Mokoy Coaching. Um, those are the two places where you can find me. I am more than happy to have conversations and support you in any way if you require any support, or just, to exchange ideas. That's also two good places where to find me.
Okay, so to anyone listening right now, the links to connect with Gail would be in the show notes. All the tools that I share, the tips we've talked about, my free community. If you want to have a chat we could also chat via a clarity session. Everything, you would find it in the show notes. Make sure you follow the podcast, subscribe, because we have so much coming. This is where you hear real conversations, hear about the person beyond the fancy things that you see on social media. Um, like I say, all the communities and links are free. You could literally change your direction with that. If you want to take a step further, you can 100% join any of my trainings. So, this was Unfiltered with Ibiyemi, and I'll see you on the next episode. Thank you, everyone, for joining, and thank you so much, Gail, for joining me as well.
Thank you for having me.